You've been close twice in a row now. What's the feeling about getting back there and finishing the job this time?
Well, our whole focus is the first weekend against game by game like we have, and try to put in a good day's work every time and compete as well as we can and see where we're at the end of the year. We're certainly not looking forward to the end of the year right now. We're just focused on getting better and trying to improve, get our pitchers going, and clean up some things defensively and get ready for the first weekend.
What can be better about this team?
A little bit of everything. I think situational hitting we need to get a little bit better. We need to figure out our bullpen, our middle relief in particular. We've got a couple positions on the field we need to figure out here in the next 3 weeks, and those answers might not even be answered by the first game of the year. We'll probably shuffle a few guys in and out and see what they can do. And we've got 4 weekends before we start conference play, so we'll probably try to use as many guys as possible to see what the best combinations are.
What have you seen from Fullerton? I know they're a top 25 team. What can you tell us about them?
Well, first of all, they're very well coached. Coach Vanderhook does a terrific job. He was at UCLA, and he played them 2 years ago in the World Series, and he does a great job. He's got a great staff. He returns a lot of position players. They've got a number one they feel really good about. And, they've got some young pitching, but as always, Fullerton's traditionally one of the best teams in the country, and we'll certainly have our hands full.
Kevin, when Preston Tucker got drafted last year, did you think he was gone? Did you think you'd lose him?
No, you don't know either way. You got to let the process work its way out, and we certainly hoped that he would come back. But it was a process that Preston and his family needed to go through, and lucky enough for us, he came back.
How did you learn of that news? How did you find out that he was coming back?
We talked the final day of the signing day of the draft, and just kind of indicated to me that he was going to come back.
You celebrate or anything?
Yeah, but as you know, there's a lot of guys on that last day. You're kind of waiting to see what happens, but most certainly, I mean, to get a guy back like him, who's going to go down in the record books as one of the best hitters that's played here, there's no question there was a huge smile on my face, and from all the coaches, and to get back a guy that you could plug in the middle of the order and solidify things, it was certainly a huge lift for us.
What are the positions in contention, and who are the guys that you're looking at mostly now?
Well, obviously we lost Josh Adams as our second baseman. I think he broke the record here for games played, so whoever we play there is got some shoes to fill. But I feel like Cody Dent had a really good last quarter of the year for us. He's got some veteran leadership to him. Casey Turgeon is now 100%. Feel very, very good about him. I think he's going to be a terrific player here at Florida. And then, obviously, at third base, we get Zach Powers back, he was coming back from a knee injury last year, and Josh Tobias, who's had an outstanding fall, and we recruited him to come in here and play, and he's done everything what we've asked him to do, and look forward to him being a great player for us as well.
What do all these preseason honors mean anything? Do they mean anything to you? Do they mean anything to the program?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, we can't control what other people write and think about us. We're more concerned about the polls at the end of the year, and there's a lot of good teams out there. Our players are mature enough, to handle these types of expectations. There's no guarantees in this game, and the only thing we can control, and I don't want to sound like coach speak, but we come out and give a good effort and try to compete as well as we can. We got to hopefully be playing our best baseball at the end of the year. Stay healthy, and hopefully get a little luck on your side. And I think if we work hard and we can stay focused, which I have full confidence in our team to do that, we'll see where we're at the end.
How much does it help that you guys went through this a little bit last year? You were preseason #1 and had a bunch of high expectations.
I don't think there's really no substitute for experience, not just for players but for coaches as well. I think you learn every year you go through this. This profession, you learn something, and certainly I pulled a lot of things out from last year as we went along with the expectations. And your goal as a coach is to become a better coach year in and year out, just like the players. And I think we're all hopefully better prepared now than we were a year ago, and hopefully next year we're even a year better.
Kevin, you have so many good young players who are draft eligible for the first time. I know that's something you really don't think about, but these guys have been through so much throughout their careers. That's not even going to be anything that even pops in their mind, is it?
Well, no, I think it's something we talk about.
You do?
Absolutely, it's something. It's every kid's dream to play in the big leagues, and you know that's a big day for them. You know, the timing of it is a little tough because it's right in the middle of our season, but it's something we talk about. And they are young men. They will at times put a little bit too much pressure on themselves because they want to succeed. But it's something that we're going to have to deal with throughout the year. I fully expect them to be mature enough to handle it, but it is something that you've got to talk about and handle. There's no question.
Do you talk to them individually or as a group, or what kind of things can you
I think
say,
you just play it by, just play it by ear. You kind of, you might not have, might not have to have any conversations throughout the year, but if you start to sense somebody, maybe pressing or trying to do too much or something like that, then you just pull them in one-on-one.
Most of these guys have been through this. I mean, they've been drafted, they've been down this road, so I would think it's not quite as big of a deal to them.
Well, you would hope so, but these kids are young and they're impressionable and they want to do the best. And for some of these guys, it is a big year. So, but the bottom line is we're going to try to focus on the team the best we can. And like I said, there's a lot of good players on this team, but we're going to try to stay together as a group the best we can and try to keep this thing moving in the right direction.
You ever seen anything like this? So many quality guys on the same team at the same time becoming eligible all together?
Well, I think the uniqueness of it is we're just getting back so many players that have played in Omaha for 2 years in a row, that have been a part of 2 SEC championships. Normally, the draft usually takes a lot of your players by the time they develop, or graduation. We're just in a unique situation where we're getting a lot of guys back who contributed a lot as freshmen.
What can you say about Casey Turgeon? I know a lot of people didn't really see him. He wasn't 100% in fall. What kind of attributes does he have on the field?
Well, he's a gamer. Simple as that. He's not the biggest in stature, but I'll tell you what, he doesn't get cheated. He squares the ball up consistently. He's got an internal clock when he plays defense. He's got some bounce. He's going to be a really good player. And I don't want to put too much on his play. I'm a big Casey Turgeon fan, and I think he's going to make an impact from day one.
You got Tobias here, who's might be the best combination of power and speed that you've recruited here. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen from him?
Well, first of all, he's a terrific young man. He's an unbelievable student. Both his mom and dad both went to school here at Florida. You're right. He's got plus speed. He's a 6'5", 6'6", 160. He's got power. It's a hard combination to find, and very sure-handed defensively. He's another one. He's going to be a heck of a player for us.
Is he a guy that it's almost you can plug him in and play him just about anywhere on the field and he'll succeed?
I think so. I think he's a very versatile defender. But most good baseball players are. You can, just like Josh Adams. He could play second, short, third. He could catch some. He can play. First game here, he played center field. I think Josh is a lot like that. I think you can move him around. He's just a baseball player.
How nice is it to return your weekend rotation? What kind of confidence does that give you, knowing what you're throwing out there those 3 days?
Well, there's certainly a comfort level, but I think, with that being said, other teams have pretty good scouting reports on them as well. So they've got to improve. They've got to get better. I know Hudson Randall's been working on some things to improve his game. Obviously, Brian Johnson's been working on some things. Karsten Whitson's a year better, a lot more confident. Having been through this before, we're in a good place. But the bottom line is we're going to have to work hard, and they still have to improve.
Hudson was just talking about how competitive they are with one another. Who's going to get the best starts and things like that. Can you talk about that kind of the dynamic between the 3 of them?
Well, we're going to let them. There's a lot of bantering going back and forth for sure. We'll let them handle it, but I'm sure there's going to be some bantering going back and forth as we go along here.
What do you see from the middle relief, Chaz? Have they started making progress that makes you comfortable with throwing them out there?
Well, I think first we've got to figure out who our midweek starters are going to be, and then from there we'll figure out our middle relief. I'm real excited about those guys that were freshmen last year, Daniel Gibson, Jonathan Crawford, and Kenny Kish making a jump forward. John Magliozzi's throwing the ball really well. But I like our end of the bullpen. When you got Larson, Rodriguez or Maddox, you feel good about any one of those three closing out the 3 outs of a game. So I don't know if we're going to have one guy that's a closer, probably go into it with that mindset. But those guys are so valuable that if we get in trouble in the 7th with an out or two, and it's the right matchup, I don't see why we wouldn't stretch those guys out for 2 innings, and then we got some options the next day.
Coach, you have 14 returning players this year. Is this experience going to help you in the tough SEC conference?
I would hope so. They've been through this league twice, and some guys 3 times already. So, there's no experience for there was no substitute for experience. So I would hope it would help us.
Kevin, can I ask you about a handful of our local guys and just get a little update on where they're at or what your outlook is for them this season? Crawford?
Jonathan Crawford, for me, he's probably our most improved pitcher on our team. He's throwing strikes. He's 90 and 94. It's heavy sink. He is starting to evolve into the pitcher that we all had hoped he would become. Now he's just got to do it when the lights go on. But he's in a really good place right now. He's just got to make that next step.
How about Dent?
He's gotten stronger. You watch him practice. He's put on 10 pounds. He's always been a great defender. Even before he got here, he was an exceptional defensive player. I think he's stronger. I think he's more confident at the plate, and certainly he's put himself in a great position as well.
Ryan Harris?
Ryan, good fall, threw strikes, competed. He's another one that's going to vie for some innings in probably that middle of the bullpen role.
Bobby Pointer, particularly with his health?
Yeah, he threw yesterday for the first time to a few hitters. He looked good. Looked really good. He's healthy, ready to go. He's going to have to make get some more outings underneath his belt to get going. But extremely pleased about how he threw yesterday.
Almost done. Corey Reed.
Corey Reed, another one. He's made great strides and improvements. Probably one of our more athletic players on our team. If the bat comes, he's got a chance to be a special player.
And Tyler?
Tyler, he'll start the season as our everyday center fielder. His throwing's gotten better. He's stronger. I'm looking forward to him having a great senior year, and hopefully a little luck will be on his side so he can stay healthy.
You know Tyler can hit. Does he give you that gap-to-gap defensive effort in center field?
Absolutely. He's very underrated defensively. He can go get the ball right center, left center. He covers a tremendous amount of ground out there, and that's why we're playing him out there.
You have a record, 7 All-Americans. How do you tell the guys to handle that, like not let it get to their head?
We don't talk about it, and there's, like I said, a lot of bantering going back and forth. We try to keep everybody on everybody's the same, and it's kind of a unique group. They know they're good players, but they also are mature enough to know that they got to go out there and prove it day in and day out.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.